Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. If your team won last night or yesterday afternoon, it's an extra happy Monday. As you can see, I'm a very happy Dallas Cowboys fan.
Let's go, Cowboys.
I'm even more happier. That's not a thing. I'm even happier than I would normally be after a Cowboys win because if you remember on this very set on Thursday, Brandon and I made a bet. My Dallas Cowboys versus his New York Jets. He was confident that the Jets would overtake my Cowboys at Jerry's World, and that did not happen. So, Nagin is out getting us some mayonnaise.
No, she's not.
Then Brandon Marshall here is going to put it in his coffee and drink it before this show is over. Trust me, you do not want to miss that. Tell your friends.
You got to stay in the office.
Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Y'all
tell
didn't get
everyone
it early.
to tune into Paper Route because Brandon Marshall is drinking mayonnaise in his coffee before this show is over.
I will if it's here, but Nagin has a job to do. You cannot, when you clock in, you can't leave. You can't leave your office.
That's
like
okay.
we need her
I gave Nagin
tweeting.
permission to go ahead and do this. Is considered a job task because it's
Y'all should have been prepared.
Dependent on the show. So I didn't have any mayonnaise left at the house. So I needed to go ahead and
nobody should have mayonnaise left at the house. Nobody should have mayonnaise, period. Mayonnaise is disgusting. It's disgusting.
What do you put in tuna?
Mayonnaise.
Okay,
hey, you know what though? That's the only time. That's the only time. That's the only time I can have.
Yeah, you need mayonnaise to cook with certain things.
But just eating it on a sandwich or just like doing this and putting it on spread.
That's different. But I'm talking about mayonnaise if you.
But you put it on a sandwich. You put it on turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, he's gonna be putting in his coffee later in the show. So make sure you guys tell your friends to hop on Paper Route. Y'all are not gonna want to miss what Brandon Marshall is about to do on this very set. But before we get to that, we got to dive into what happened over the weekend. Listen, it was a full slate of football from Saturday to Sunday. A lot went down, but if you were like me, you were up at 2:30 in the morning watching Deion Sanders and the Buffaloes go at it against Colorado State in double overtime. I was tired. I was yawning watching the game. I was up, but I was like, it was a long game, but it was worth it. It was worth it. Listen, in a thriller that went late into the night, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes pulled off an insane win against their rival Colorado State in double OT. Now, the game had plenty of highs and lows, so we're going to dive into all of them. First and foremost, things got chippy during warm-ups. We have that video. This is video 1. Check this out. So they're going at it. They're rumbling. They're tumbling. There's Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter going at it with them. They had to be separated. I mean, this is a lot of tension in the game before the game even started.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row. The Colorado Buffs need to understand that they're public enemy number one. And they're the biggest story in sports, Ashley, and they're going to have a huge target on their back. So I feel like the first couple of weeks has been extremely personal. And that's good, right?
Yeah,
but now there's a bigger task at hand, and I feel like after this game, and I think Deion set the tempo after this game on how he approached the media, how he just conducted himself. It's like, all right, it's business, right? Let's keep our fire. Right. Let's continue to keep our foot on the gas, but we shouldn't cross the line.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had a warm-up situation? We have the mayonnaise, ladies and gentlemen. Nagin didn't even have to leave the building.
Where'd you
Look
go?
at that. Look at that. Come on, girl. Bring that on down here. We have the mayo. Can we get somebody to make Brandon a different cup of coffee?
Yeah,
he doesn't want to put it in this one. I have the mayonnaise here. And we can go ahead and do that when we talk about the Dallas Jets game. And Brandon can sip his mayo coffee as we dissect that game. You have some time, though.
You want to like do another bet, like double or nothing? So
I absolutely do not. I want to reach this bet. We have the mayo, everyone. This is mayonnaise right here. Real mayonnaise is not the fake stuff. We will dive into that later. I'm gonna keep it here because Brandon might try to steal it from me.
Something's wrong with you.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Shout out to them Cowboys. Listen, have you ever had a game though that got really chippy in warm-ups like that? That there was just so much tension, so much just underlining animosity that it couldn't even wait till the game started. It was that from the jump.
Not in college football. Obviously, I didn't play in a program that had that amount of attention. But in the league, it was more personal. So it was like individual matchups, right? So we're looking at Talib. We're looking at Richard Shermans of the world. Those type of guys, the Antonio Cromarties of the world. So more of it on an individual level than a team basis, right? Listen, this game was awesome. Like you said, you know, we are up till 2:30 in the morning watching it.
Yeah.
I think we all wanted to see this post-game handshake, and I don't think we got what we wanted, Ashley. Seriously, like, think about it, because, you know, Deion, before the game, they had college football there, and they asked him the question, what are you going to do after the game, right, during that handshake? And he took off his hat, took off his glasses, and did like this. Well, first off, he didn't have glasses on. So I was expecting Deion to actually put on glasses, okay, and walk up to him and do that, because he said he was going to do that. But what happened? Coach actually came to him, whispered in his ear, and apologized. I don't know what he said, but you saw Shador, you saw Deion sitting right there, and it was very classy, right? And then afterwards, and I know we'll get there, but in this presser, you know, he was very classy. He took the high road, and I think he set the tempo.
For sure.
So we didn't get what we wanted, but I think Deion gave us what we needed.
Oh, that's a good line right there. All right, so before we move on to the actual nitty-gritty of the game, listen, it was a star-studded crowd in Boulder, Colorado. Whoa. And Brandon alluded to this earlier last week when we were talking about Colorado.
Yep.
There were no black people out there. So the fact that there were so many black people in Boulder, Colorado, from rappers to ball players and everybody in between, that is the Deion Sanders effect. I mean, everybody from Lil Wayne, there's Kawhi Leonard.
How you get Kawhi Leonard out there?
He had Master P out there. He had The Rock. He had Kyle Lowry. He had Chauncey Billups. I mean, the list goes on and on. It was absolutely incredible.
No.
Only
Kawhi.
You know Kawhi don't.
Offset was there.
Offset, yes.
Were you about to Kawhi?
Not Kawhi.
Kawhi. But he does nothing.
He does.
That's how big of a deal this is,
Master
Ashley.
P was out there with his kids. And make him say, nah. Yeah, listen, I mean, it was insane. Like, so many faces that you would never think would be in Boulder, Colorado at that. Were there front and center. This is the Deion Sanders effect. Only he could bring out this kind of star power to a place that, like we said, you don't see many faces of color. Yeah,
Deion said something interesting maybe a week or two ago. He said, we're doing something that's never been done before. Deion Sanders, I mean, he's one of maybe 2 or 3 people in the world that can galvanize a community. But think about this, though, Ashley. This is the same culture, the same community that lashed out against Deion for leaving HBCU Jackson State.
Now he brought it with him.
Right? So for him to overcome that, and that was a big deal, because in 2020, 2021, racial tension everywhere, okay? And we're having these conversations about the community and bringing everything back together and supporting each other. He goes out there and he says things in a way like he's never going to leave HBCU. And after 3 years, he leaves. All right, so he leaves, and now everybody's like, what the hell? You had some people on one side of the road and some people on the other, so it wasn't like everybody was against Deion, but this was a huge conversation. And within 4 months, just 2 games, you have everybody in the culture back rocking with you?
Yeah.
I seen something like there was one guy that was out there.
In all disclaimer, though, in all fairness, though, a lot of people of the culture were not mad at Deion for leaving HBCUs.
It was how he did it?
It was a very interesting time, because I feel like the people who were mad about Deion leaving HBCUs, at least the majority, it felt like people who never really cared about HBCUs until Deion got there. Yes, there were people who were HBCU alumni and things who felt a certain type of way about it because he said he wasn't going to leave, things like that. But I feel like the majority of people were people who were just looking for a way to chastise him. They didn't care about HBCU programs before. They weren't checking for HBCU programs before. But now all of a sudden, Deion leaves one after being in one for a few years, and it's, oh, he's the bad guy. So it was a little bit of a weird time, because a lot of the people who should be mad weren't even mad.
That's good. I agree with you, Ashley. But man, what a beautiful night.
It was incredible.
And I just keep thinking about that moment, you know, after the game, and like the anticipation, the anxiety leading up to it. I was like, I can't wait to see this post-game shake. I was so messy, and there was a lot of people on Twitter. I wasn't the only one like, I can't wait to see what happens. Mm-hmm. He almost ain't get it done, though. They almost ain't get it done. They should have lost that game.
Well, let's dive into the game a little bit. First and foremost, losing Travis Hunter was major for the Buffaloes. He took a rough hit after a no ejection for safety Henry Blackburn. That was something that was dissected some more on Twitter. Even after the game, this hit right here. This is absolutely clearly targeting. There was no call, no ejection. I'm sorry, there was a call. There was no ejection for Henry Blackburn. Coach Sanders ultimately said that Hunter will be out, quote, at least a few weeks after this hit. He was ultimately back in the game, but he just was never the same, and he ultimately had to be removed from the game, and we found out that he was on his way to the hospital, and then it did come out that he would be missing a few weeks. Shedeur Sanders stepped up to defend his guy, but I mean, Brandon, this hit clearly targeting. It's just not cool. So, it just completely went uncalled. It was not a fan. We have the coffee. Keep talking though, Brandon. I'm gonna get this ready for you.
So while y'all putting this coffee here, screw your coffee, Nagin. I got goosebumps looking at this film. Mm-hmm. Walking in today, knowing that we were going to be discussing the biggest story in all of sports.
Right.
I was like, what the hell is going on with Travis Hunter? Because when you look at who they have coming up next, you have Oregon and you have USC. Coach Prime already said that he'll be out a couple weeks, so he won't be there. But the question for me was, what's going on, right? Why is he out a couple of weeks? What's the injury? That hasn't been disclosed yet. And so watching this film and seeing him turn over the way he did, he was searching for air. Mm-hmm. And so that took me back to 2014, playing against the Dallas Cowboys Sunday Night Football. I'm running across the middle of the field. I catch this one-hand ball, and I'm overexposed. I fall to the ground. As I'm on the ground, the safety comes, and he goes to tag me off, but he knees me in my side. Like right where he was hit, if you run the film back, right where he was hit, that shoulder pad hit him in his hand, in his arm, which is arm right close to his ribs.
Right.
And to me, this looked like broken ribs. I had 2 broken ribs and a punctured lung. So look at him. He's sitting there. He throws off his helmet. He's gasping for air. Now, when he turns over and he gets on his knees and trying to, and still on his shoulders, his stomach, he's searching for air. This is one of the toughest feelings ever in football, right? When you break your ribs and you have a punctured lung. So that's what it seems to be.
On that note, Travis Hunter actually has a lacerated liver.
Ooh.
And he will be out 3 to 4 weeks.
See? This is tough. Look, see, this is tough because this is, when you look at this, right? And remember I was saying this a couple of weeks ago, Ashley, I was like, it's not the hits that everybody thinks hurt. It's the little things, man. This is not a devastating blow or devastating hit. He just hit him in the right place at the right time.
But let's talk about the hit, though. I mean, it was
dirty.
It was clearly dirty. It was clearly targeting. He was already out of bounds at the time. He put another hit on him and then walks away, looks down on him as he's walking away. Kind of like, yeah, now what? You already see Travis Hunter on the ground. It was bad enough of a hit that Shedeur Sanders had to step to him and be like, what the hell is your problem?
Right.
Why wasn't this called? It was called. Why wasn't he ejected?
Actually,
because later in the game, we see another player who has a hit that some can go ahead and say was targeting on Shedeur Sanders.
That's right.
And he's ejected from the game. Why was he not ejected?
Ashley, I don't know. But what I do know is before the games, there's memos that go around. There's meetings that happen between officials. When I say officials, I mean the actual referees and officials. So we're talking about the Pac-12 officials, everyone who's involved in putting this game together. Because what you don't want to put out sloppy, controversial play, right? Mm-hmm. So going in, everybody knows that the Colorado Buffs have the biggest target on their back in probably all of sports right now, and it's going to be Chippy because they're looking at what's happening over the first 2 weeks of the season, pre-game, during the game, post-game, and then when Coach Norvell goes out and makes these comments, now you know everything's heightened. So I say that because in those situations, a lot like basketball, it's like, all right, look, we know this is going to be Chippy. Let the guys play. Let's not mess this up, right? We don't want to go out there because if he makes that call, then people start leaning. Well, are they on Deion's side? Or if they don't make the call, it's like, oh shit. Well, maybe
they ejected Kamara because they know they missed the one on Blackburn.
For sure.
So it's clearly you knew it was the right thing to eject him. And truthfully, if you're asking me, and if it was up to me, and the NCAA should go back to this, he should be.
Don't worry, Ashley. The culture. Let me tell you.
He should be suspended for as long as Travis Hunter is out.
Ooh,
and that's 3 to 4 games until he comes back. He should not see the field.
Whatever this kid's name is, the way I look at
Blackburn.
this, it's like what we say earlier. Deion has the culture, right? Yeah. Deion brings the culture out. So there's certain things, there's laws and rules within the culture. In the culture, if you break certain rules, you touch women and babies type things like that, and you go to jail, the culture take care of you. So the only thing I could think about was like, damn, this dude is in a tough spot. You had Odell Beckham Jr. wearing his shirt on Sunday, pre-game, right? Travis Hunter's shirt, right? So my thing is, bro, if you get an opportunity to make it to the next level, ain't nobody rocking with you. Whoever this kid is, he has no chance at the next level to be loved, to be embraced. Like, you just went out there and took out one of the biggest, youngest, brightest stars in the culture. Ain't nobody rocking with you. You're gonna end up going to Live nightclub, getting in line. They gonna see Ashley, they gonna look at his car. Oh, you the dude that hit Travis Hunter? Get your ass out.
It just seemed though, to me, it just seemed like, I don't know. There was a lot of dirty and unsportsmanlike plays coming from that side of the ball.
They missed it, Ashley. They missed it, and I don't know why they missed it. I mean, even if you look at that shot,
I don't know how they missed it. The ref, because it could have been, because
it's like it could be bang bang though. If you rewind that play real quick, sometimes it's like and this is slow mo. It could be so bang bang, and you get different angles. He runs around his guy, and he puts his shoulder pad in.
Come on, Brandon. That's clear as day. And then he's looking down on him.
He threw the flag right away.
He's looking down on him, walking away from him in slow motion.
But think about this. Let me ask you this question though, because everybody's saying that.
And they were up at the time.
So let me ask you this question: if Travis Hunter got up, walked to the sideline, was out for 1 or 2 plays, came back out, would we be saying?
Yes.
He should be. He should have been thrown out.
Yes.
No, the answer is no, Ashley.
Yes.
So he potentially got the
targeting.
Targeting is targeting the head.
Yes.
The crown of the helmet. So
by definition, yes, but
it was a cheap play.
It was a cheap shot. It was unnecessary. It wasn't even a frustration hit. You were leading at that point. They were leading by a whole possession. You hit him, look down on him while he's hurling over on the ground, and then as you're walking away, are still sizing him up.
Late hit. He throws the flag right away. He doesn't know that Travis Hunter is going to be done for 4 to 6 weeks and has
a player on the ground and you size him up like
what
that?
What is it?
Lacerated liver.
Lacerated liver? He doesn't know that. If he got up, none of us would be saying this. None of us. We would be saying post game is, they came out dirty play.
I would agree with you if he does the hit and walks away like normal. He sizes him up twice.
I'm gonna make the culture mad.
That makes it seem to me that you intended to go and you intended to late hit him. It's not like he hit him and said, oh crap, and then walked away. He hit him, sized him up, stood over him, and as he's walking away is still sizing him up. You intended to hit him. You were trying to send a message. It was a cheap shot. It was a weak shot. He should have been ejected for it.
It was a cheap shot, but the referee got it right. He got it right because if Travis Hunter got up, went to the sideline, caught his breath for a play or two, and came back in, we would just be talking about a cheap shot. But we didn't know that Travis Hunter wasn't going to get back up. I think the ref got it right. It sucks. But what's going to happen after this is that kid, like I said, is going to be – he's banned from the culture. What's his name? Can we get his name?
It's Henry Blackburn, safety for Colorado State.
Henry Blackburn?
Yes.
Henry Blackburn. I'm not going to say you're banned forever from the culture, but we're going to have to put together like some type of probationary period.
He's a white guy, so.
Oh, he's white? Okay. Well, Henry.
So.
Hey, Henry. Boy, let's move on. Boy. You hit Travis Hunter. Why you hit Travis Hunter? Boy, you crazy.
Okay. Moving on. Like.
That boy hit Travis Hunter. You crazy, boy. Coach Norvell need to cut him. Ain't he from the culture where we go, hey, Coach Norvell, am I saying his name right, Ashley? Mm-hmm. Hey, you want to get your culture card back? Cut that boy. Cut that boy. For real. You know you always was wrong by how you handled Deion. Okay, so if you want more athletes to come, because ain't nobody rocking with you right now. Colorado State ain't going to get nothing from the culture. Nothing. But this is the way to get back right. Get in good graces from the culture. Okay, you want what Deion has? Cut that boy. Rescind the scholarship. All right, Ashley, take over. I'm done. All
righty. Moving right along. Listen, Shedeur Sanders tapped into his Tom Brady bag because when his team needed him the most, he said, I got y'all. A 98 drive from QB1 in 90 seconds. He said all he thought about was Tom Brady mode. Take a look at this. We have this. It was absolutely incredible.
You get it done. What was your message to your teammates
the
when
post
you guys
game,
took over the ball at the 2?
Glasses in his hat, just like his daddy.
All I was thinking was Brady mode. That's it. Simple.
Brady mode, Tom Brady mode?
Brady mode, that's it. You left too much time out there.
Uh-huh. He's been a mentor of yours?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we talk after every game. I'm sure he's going to text me in a second, but that's all I was thinking is Brady mode. If he could do it, I know I could do it, and, we just alike.
Yeah. Ashley, I'm sorry. I'm embarrassing my co-host here. I wish everybody on the radio, SiriusXM, could see me right now. Yo, this is what it's all about. Ashley, did you not love this moment?
Brady mode.
Brady mode. Ashley, this is what I wrote down. And I'm going to read what I wrote down. Shedeur Sanders is the #1 overall pick if he keeps up at this pace. Okay, now you got that young man in Southern California, USC. All right, clear-cut #1 overall pick right now. Clear-cut, clear as day. But, man, like when you watch this film, Ashley, and you see this kid, the moxie, the flair, how he does it, and I'm talking about getting out of the pocket, running to your left, flipping his hips, and being able to throw a dime. The ball that he threw, the 98 yards, you got to go 98 yards to tie it up. Okay?
90 seconds.
Colorado State before that drive had a 90% chance of winning. There's no Travis Hunter in the picture. And he goes out there and he does it. You seen him on the sideline. And this is what I'm saying. Like there's something. Here's leadership, check. Control of offense, check. Situational football, check. Arm talent, super check. Okay, style. Check. Ashley, when you seen him over here and the game is on the line, right, and he had this towel like this, and he doing this, Ashley, and he looking, oh, my goodness, that's the Brady mode he talking about. That's what you want to see. Yo, I swear, like, dog, if I'm a GM, Ashley, and if I'm a head coach right now, Caleb, I'm sorry, bro. I'm going with that kid because anybody can throw a pretty ball, Ashley. Uh-huh. Anybody could understand the offense and get you in and out. There's a lot of dudes that can do that. But there's not too many that can have the arm talent needed to make every single throw on the field, have the football IQ to understand exactly what's going on. He is running his offense better than some NFL cats is running their offense. And then the clutch gene. So you put all three of those together. Come on, please. So Ashley.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely an incredible just clutch moment from him. Can we throw his stats up there one more time? I mean, even his stats from the game, once again, another impressive stat line. Listen, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, came back from 28-17 in the fourth, and he did this again without Travis Hunter. Absolutely incredible. Ice water in his veins. The way they completed that 2-point conversion in the double OT to go ahead and secure the game.
What?
I mean, this kid is built for the big moments. And I think even more so when you see the picture of him and Brady circulating on the internet after, and even Brady goes on his Instagram and shows love to Shador, talking about Brady Mode. I mean, it's absolute. He's kind of like, I don't know, I watch him play and he's like a combination of Brady and a young Cam Newton and just all of the like
new age.
If you could take like the best pieces of some of the best quarterbacks, whether from college or pro, he has a little bit of all of them. You see a little bit of a Clemson Deshaun Watson in there. I mean, it's just impressive.
I mean, he's new age superstar. I heard somebody today on the airwaves, linear networks, and saying, he's turned into a superstar. Hell no. He is a superstar. This kid been a superstar since he came out the womb. Ashley, we had him in studio. Right? Like, tell the people, like, when Ashley, we've been around so many athletes, so many prominent people. And when some people walk in the room, they have this aura, this confidence about themselves. What I picked up, Ashley, even from how he talked about his dad, like, that's just Deion.
Yeah.
His confidence was through the roof. I was like, the questions that we asked him and the way he answered them was like, this kid is different. So you talk about superstar, he's already that.
For
this
sure.
dude, to me, it's just about like him getting in the right situation. Well, I don't even want to talk about the NFL, Ashley.
Let's just enjoy this moment.
Let's enjoy this moment. But Ashley, can you quickly just tell the people, your experience, our experience when he walked in, how he conducted himself?
Yeah. Well, first of all, shout out to everyone in the chat. We have over 1,000 people joining us today in the chat. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Speaking of Shador, I mean, he just has a calming confidence about him. Is a little bit of cockiness like his daddy, but also he backs it up with his skill set. He did also, he just believes in what he's saying. He believes in himself. He doesn't get too high in the moment. He doesn't get too low in the moment. It was just very impressive to be around somebody that young with that much confidence and that much of a tunnel vision of not focusing on what happened, not focusing on what's going to happen, just focusing on the next step by step, play by play, possession by possession,
right.
Goal by goal. He's just very impressive to have that mindset so young. I'm always impressed by young people. When I say young, I mean under the age of 25, when you're technically still developing and your brain's still developing, if you listen to science and things like that. He just has this confidence about him, this mindset about him, just this tunnel vision. He's special.
Ashley,
He's special.
I'm telling you, I said it already. And again, shout out to everybody who's rocking with us today on this big Monday in sports. But if I'm a general manager, if I'm a head coach, right, I'm really thinking about this guy. I've seen everything I need to see. We know he can make every throw on the field.
He did show a lot of this though at Jackson State though.
Yeah, but now he's playing. Now he's playing against the big boys.
Well, the big stage. But if you were watching him at Jackson State, you already knew what he was capable of.
Yeah, but yes, you're right. But there's still a lot of questions there. For him to do it on this stage, Ashley, I think already through these first few weeks, he has solidified himself as one of the top draft picks, in the draft when he comes out. So really quickly, Ashley, I wanted to hit this really quickly because I think all of us wanted to, all of us was waiting for that moment after the game. I think Deion didn't know that, and his team didn't believe that they were going to get this type of game, this type of fight, right? He said it after the game that these are the type of games that build character, that makes you championship ready. But I don't think he thought it was going to come against Colorado State. Well, Coach did a phenomenal job of preparing them, and I'm talking about the Colorado State, Coach Norvell, of getting his team ready. So you do have to say good job to him for that.
Well, and Deion did do that in his post-game presser. He did take the high road. He was asked about Coach Norvell and the Colorado State team. And he said, quote, before we play the video, he said, "I'm happy for the brother. I really am. I'm happy that they fought. I'm happy that they played a good game. I'm happy he's a head coach. I'm happy for any brother that's doing it and is successful. My blessing ain't got nothing to do with his blessing." Here's the video.
Anything meaningful?
No. I know Shador kind of got in between it. But no, I don't hold. You know, I could be petty if they petty, but I ain't got time for that.
Can we
man.
hear?
I'm on to bigger things. I'm happy for the brother. I really am, man. I'm happy that they fought, that they played a good game. I'm happy he's a head coach. I'm happy for any brother that's doing it and successful, man. I truly am. I don't know where all this stuff come from. I have to respond because, you know, it's my mama taught me that. You just ain't gonna type me and I'm gonna sit back and ain't gonna say nothing. But I'm happy for that dude, man. I don't know him. But I'm happy for him. I wish the best for him. I really do. Nothing. My success ain't got nothing to do with his. So why would I want him to succeed? I don't know how people get down like that. My blessings ain't got nothing to do with his blessings.
Listen, Deion absolutely just always take,
No.
not always, but I think in this situation, it speaks volumes that he decided to take the high road. He could have, made a jab about the unsportsmanlike plays, throughout the game. He could have taken a jab and said, one of my favorite sayings, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, meaning like, now what? He could have gone ahead and throw a little jab Colorado State's way, Coach Norvell's way, but he took the high road. And that was a very powerful statement that he made, especially the last part. My blessing ain't got nothing to do with his blessing. So shout out to Deion for taking the high road. A lot of coaches may not have done that, but I guess, the win was revenge enough for him.
So what I would say to this, Ashley, and everything you just said, is that everything that's happening around Deion, he's using to push him and his team and his mission where they are trying to go, right? And so he's very strategic. And when you think about media savviness, there's no one more savvier than Deion Sanders. His media savviness is through the roof, right? And I said this a couple times. We were all waiting for that moment after the game, the handshake. What was Deion going to do? We were all waiting for the press conference. What was Deion going to say? So when he didn't give us what we all wanted, the first question that I had was why? And two things came up for me. Number one, it was Deion's opportunity to show us how it's supposed to be done. Remember, Deion's a really good guy. Deion is a Christian, but the way he lives his life and his Christianity is different than everyone else. He ain't no punk. He ain't no pushover. And a lot of times when we lead with religion, when we lead with our faith, right? People think we got to be meek and we got to be soft. Deion ain't like that. Deion will slap you upside your head if he had to, right? So why do I say that? Because to me, Deion and 50 Cent is a lot alike. Stay with me here.
50 Cent.
50 Cent.
50 Cent. You said 50 cents.
Same thing. 50 said this a while back, and I was like, damn, that's true for a lot of people, but I see Deion in the same category. You got to remember, Deion has always been a disruptor. He has always rocked the boat. When you do that, it comes with a lot of haters. It comes with a lot of Coach Norvells. And this is what 50 Cent, he said, 50 Cent said, a lot of people think that I look for problems. I don't. But if you say you got a problem, then I say no problem. So in this situation, Coach Norvell came out and so many others. Deion just doing him. Y'all are upset because I'm doing it differently and y'all never seen it this way. So when he does that, then all these haters come out. Why are you getting out of your lane? Worry about Colorado State. Worry about your mission down there in Texas or Florida State. Y'all not doing that. So what y'all do is y'all give Deion the opportunity to really push back at you. So that was the first thing I thought about, Ashley, was this was an opportunity for Deion to say, you know what? You stepped out of line. You crossed the line. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to push my mission forward. But afterwards, when everybody's watching me, I'm showing you how it's supposed to be done. I'm proud of you. Keep going, young man. Keep going, coach, excuse me. And the second thing was he also knows that he has number 10 Oregon coming up and number 5 USC. So I'm preparing the world and my team, right, for this big moment because we may lose. And if I go into these games, into this run, super high, cocky, whatever, then now I'm going to open ourselves up for more criticism, the criticism that you might not be able to recover from. So I think Deion Sanders is super media savvy, and he's 5 steps ahead of all of us. So shout out to Coach Ashley.
I'm just happy that he took the high road because listen, it's rare that we see black men in these spaces.
There you go.
You know, whether it's the NFL level, whether it's the collegiate level. And I just think that, Coach Norvell threw a cheap shot and it was unnecessary and it was corny, it was whack. But I think that the bigger picture of it is, so you had 2 black men, head coaches at programs going at it in an incredible game. It went into double overtime.
Phenomenal.
And I think it would have spoiled the greater picture of it had Deion thrown a jab back at him.
Would it have?
I think it would have, only because Deion got the win. He had an incredible comeback. Like I said, it went to double OT. Yeah, Colorado State played, cheap and messy at times, and there was a lot of things that made you look at them sideways. But I'm a firm believer that revenge is the best success sometimes, and I think that the win, and overcoming every obstacle that was thrown their way was revenge enough, was enough said. And I don't think Deion needed to go in there and twist the knife a little bit more. I think that everybody knows what Coach Norvell said, and everybody knows how the game turned out. And I think by Deion showing him grace was the biggest FU that he could have given to Coach Norvell. And I think that was the route to take. That's probably the route I would have taken.
I think that was the best approach. But actually, I don't think the majority would have been mad at Deion if he did what he said he was going to do in the pregame on Saturday, right? Because he said he was going to take off his hat and glasses, and he just did that when they asked him, "What you going to do?"
No. I don't think people would have been mad, but I think that him letting his play and the outcome of the game doing the talking spoke volumes.
100%. 100%. It was the right way, and we all can learn from it. But I think we all, like everybody, you got me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter watching this, Ashley. Yeah. Everybody, every athlete, every superstar is like, I can't wait for this handshake, right? Because we were expecting Coach to do this.
See,
and if he did that, Ashley, we'd all have been like, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I also, again, I'm also somebody who I have no qualms about what Deion did. I think that was,
You mean like what he did?
Yeah, post game. Like I think
that was the right thing.
I think it was the right thing to do, and I'm not mad at him doing. Also, want to give love to Shiloh Sanders. His pick 6 was absolutely incredible. Set the tone for the entire game. He is a beast. We forget that Deion has not 1 but 2 ballers on the Colorado Buffaloes. So shout out
2 turnovers. Two. He had a pick and he had a fumble.
Oh yes, a pick 6 and a fumble. Absolutely out there balling. You have one son on offense, one son on defense, just making things happen. So shout out to Shiloh Sanders as well. We want to send him love. Deion, that Sanders DNA is absolutely incredible.
So Ashley,
listen, guys, listen.
Listen, Linda. Listen, Linda. We got that. Listen, Linda.
We have a lot more football to dive into. Like, we have a full jam-packed football show, but while this coffee is still hot, we are going to go ahead and honor our bet, Brandon Marshall. Now, if you guys remember, we have over 1,000 people in the chat.
Oh, you want to do this when you want to do this when the audience is at its peak?
We're going to do it when it's at its
We're not even at the Cowboys segment.
Doesn't matter. This is YouTube. I'm driving the boat and I'm steering in an opposite direction. If you guys remember, I have been making bets with everybody on this set since the start of the Cowboys season, or football season, let me say. I had BC and Andrew rocking Cowboys jerseys after the blowout win against the New Jersey Football Giants, and they had to go ahead and wear Cowboys jerseys on the following Monday, which was Tuesday for me because I wasn't here.
She's on the heater.
And then Brandon and I made a bet on Thursday against the Jets and Cowboys game, and Brandon was 100% confident that his Jets were going to demolish my Dallas Cowboys, and you know what the score ended up being? 30-10.
What was it?
30-10.
Blowout? against that defense?
It's not a blowout.
That is a blowout. What are you talking about? NFL, you lose more than 10 as a blowout.
At least they scored. It's a blowout. They scored some points. But listen, it's a blowout. It's not as bad as the Giants blowout.
You know what?
But
I'm celebrating too, Ashley. So I'm gonna do this, whatever you got me doing. But I'm celebrating too because I picked the Cowboys to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
You didn't pick the Cowboys to beat the Jets. You were rocking with the Jets, and the deal was that Brandon had to pull Will Levis and drink some mayonnaise in his coffee.
Disgusting.
So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, over 1,000 people in the chat. We have 1,300 people in the chat to witness Brandon Marshall make his bet. So as you can see, Keon, can you come in here so we can get there we go. Zoom in right here. We got some mayonnaise, a packet of mayonnaise. Make sure you guys are watching this. This is happening in real time. Here we go.
And just for the record, I want everyone to know that I hate mayonnaise, right? Like I hate it. I stopped eating mayonnaise on sandwiches and stuff like that probably 20 years ago. This is disgusting. This is disgusting.
I'm going to make sure there's no chunks or anything in it. I'm going to stir this nice for you. Brandon, are you nervous about this at all?
What I'm nervous about is how my stomach's going to feel after. I did something with Cam Newton a couple weeks ago, and I had to eat meat, and I haven't ate meat in like 5-6 years.
Cam didn't eat meat.
He doesn't, but we did this he has this show coming out. I can't give too much information, but it was a challenge, and they had like some sausages, and I had to eat the sausage, and literally I was like farting all over the place.
Wow. Okay.
Was upset.
Well, I don't know if Nagin wants to come in here and get this for social media. We want to put this out. We want to tease this. I'm stirring this up. This is almost ready to go. We're gonna have Brandon Marshall drinking mayonnaise coffee live
here,
on
give me this. Hurry up so I can get this. All right, Jets.
All right, I'm trying to stir this nice and smooth for you. Here we go.
Listen, Jets, get y'all shit together because y'all got me over here. Last year, you see this tattoo right here? Last year, I bet the Patriots and the Jets, and it was a walk-off punt return that ended the game. We should have won the game. All we had to do was score one touchdown. And so now I lost to Julian Edelman. Every time I bet against the Jets, something happened. So I got a tattoo. That's a real Patriots tattoo right there.
Wow.
That's real. I keep losing. All right, and now Ashley Nicole Moss, she throws this bet out here. Now I got to drink coffee and mayonnaise. This is a problem. Let's go, Zach. Let's go, Zach. Defense. Y'all supposed to be legendary. What's up? How we give up all these points? How you let CeeDee Lamb go for over 100 yards in the first half? How y'all give up so much on the rushing? What are we doing? We don't pick off Dak Prescott? Now, Dak, I love you, and I picked y'all to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. But Dak Prescott supposed to be the dude throwing all these picks. He ain't throw a pick? Come on.
Drink it up. Drink. Oh! He's drinking. Guys, he drank it. This cup is empty. Look. This cup is empty, folks. How did that taste, Brandon?
Come on, let's move on. Let's get back to Oh my goodness.
What did it taste like?
It tastes like Badussi.
What?
You never heard of that?
I don't know what that is.
I know nobody. Yo, you gotta be around 35 or older to know what Badussi is. Nobody know what it is.
Okay, I don't.
I can't even tell you on air.
Okay,
like it's just disgusting. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, it already is in my stomach.
Moving on.
So you did this. I'm not going to the bathroom. If I have to fart, I'm farting. And you have to deal with it.
Everyone in the studio right now is screaming in disgust. I can hear them through the wall. The chat is absolutely taken aback by that you just did that.
Oh, my stomach. I might be gassy already. Before we move on, Ashley, are you okay with everybody wants to get to NFL. We got to talk Cincinnati Bengals. We got to talk
we have a lot to get into.
About the Cowboys. We haven't broken down that game. We got to talk about OBJ and the Ravens. But I feel like, we had this legendary moment with Shador. I would love to show a clip and show our audience.
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. So if this clip is ready, I want you guys to see this sit down, just a snippet of this sit down that Ashley and I had with Shador, so you guys can see exactly what the world is starting to see.
Your pushback to people who say, well, if you have the last name James, or Sanders, or you're at a, one of the top schools in the country, obviously your NIL opportunities are going to be drastically more than someone who goes to an FAU or UCF. Yeah. What's your pushback against that?
I mean, just come walk a day in the shoes. Like, understand the expectation and the pressure and all this stuff, like, each and every day, everywhere you go. When you're going out to eat, like, understand you can't be seen in the light in a certain way. You can't do a lot of things everybody else can do. So, like, people say they want the life, but not knowing what the life, like, what it take to maintain and do everything like that.
I absolutely loved that clip from Shedeur. Listen, he's not shying away from the fact that, look, yes, he has a famous last name. Yes, he has a famous dad. But with that comes a lot of high expectations. And he said, look, try to walk a mile in these shoes and see what that's like. It's not as easy as people make it seem. You're held to a different standard because of what that last name means, what it has meant in the NFL, what it has meant in college football. So I'm held to that standard, if not higher. That's if I don't go ahead and perform, people are looking at me crazy. So I love that he doesn't hide away from it, but he knows with that comes a lot.
Okay, let's add to that, Ashley. He doesn't hide from it. He embraces it. And that's what I was saying earlier about, like, that energy that he brought into this room when we sat down with him, how he conducts himself, how he carries himself. He moves better than most pros. Like, he moves like a boss, right? And so, like, when you think about the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about, like, the Zach Wilsons of the world, the Josh Allens of the world, primetime games. Zach Wilson, let me take these off because I did this for Shedeur and Deion, who brought in over $1.5 million in the first day for, with all this nonsense Saturday. Make sure y'all go support the glasses, his company there. But Zach Wilson and Josh Allen, their eyes was like this in those crucial moments when the big moments recently. And Shedeur was like this, right? So he's one of those guys that just walks into it. He embraces that type of energy. And so there's big things to come. And again, I think if I'm a general manager and a head coach, I'll be leaning towards him over anyone else in the draft.
Well, listen, it won't be the last time we talk about the Colorado Buffaloes, Deion Sanders, the Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders. Listen, like we said, Saturday, Oregon, it's going to be a big game. We'll keep our eyes out for that. We'll talk about it some more later in the week, but we're going to move on. Listen, when it rains in Cincinnati, it pours because there's more bad news for the Bengals. Listen, they fell to 0-2 after a 27-24 loss against the Baltimore Ravens yesterday afternoon. But Joe Burrow is said to have re-aggravated his calf by tweaking it at the end of the game. He said, quote, "I just tweaked it a little bit again." He told that to the media post-game. He also went ahead and dove into that a little bit more, saying, quote, "We're going to have to wait and see. I'm not sure how it's going to feel the next couple of days. It's pretty sore right now, but no telling how it's going to feel. So I think we're going to take it day by day." This is a video of him walking back to the Bengals locker room. We also have a video of him expressing tweaking his calf, again, re-aggravating his calf that, again, he hurt early in training camp to the media. And a lot of people are dissecting his body language and saying that it may be more serious than what he's letting on. Take a look at this.
Instead of just continuing to power through on a week-to-week basis, do you let yourself think about long-term, or is it just on a week-to-week basis?
We're going to have to wait and see. I'm not sure how it's going to feel the next couple days. It's pretty sore right now, but no telling how it's going to feel, so I think we're going to take it day by day.
How did you tweak it?
It was on the play before the last touchdown.
I mean, Brandon, looking at his body language and hearing what he's saying, are the words matching his actions?
Ashley, I don't know, but what I will say is that the Cincinnati Bengals are in a tough spot because if he continues to play, it's going to get worse. We've seen this with Kevin Durant. We've seen this with Aaron Rodgers, right? We've seen this with others that dealt with lower extremity muscle injuries or calf injuries, right? If he sits down, obviously you can't replace Joe Burrow.
Right.
So how I see this playing out, going into their bye week, they have 4 more games. The Cincinnati Bengals will be 1-5 going into their bye week. The Rams are coming to the Bengals. Aaron Donald himself will win this game. Aaron Donald will be able to run through 2-3 offensive linemen himself And that's going to be a problem. The Bengals at the Titans. I said this before the season. This is my team, my black sheep team. This is the dark horse, that will probably get in the playoffs and scare some people. And then the Bengals are at the Cardinals. This is where they get their first win. And then you got the Seattle Seahawks at the Bengals. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, they travel coast to coast extremely well, but sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. Geno Smith got the team back on track yesterday. He looked phenomenal. And if that same Geno shows up in Cincinnati, the Bengals will be 1-5 going into the bye week. This is all bad. They may miss the playoffs, and it's tough for me to say this because it's the first 4 weeks. Ashley, you know that I don't like to get into overreactions. But when Joe Burrow, the highest paid player in the history of the NFL, isn't available or isn't at full throttle with a struggling team, you're in trouble. You got the Cleveland Browns, right? Deshaun, we will see tonight if he gets back on track. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, are always going to give you problems. And the Baltimore Ravens is probably a top. They're one of the better teams and best teams in the NFL. So this is all bad in Cincinnati. And I hate if I'm coming off as an overreactor right now. But listen, this is tough.
Listen, hindsight is 20/20. The Bengals go on to face the Rams. Now, knowing that Joe Burrow obtained this injury very early in training camp, and it was a couple of weeks before the season, a week, maybe week and a half tops, before the season started, that he was back into practice playing, and everybody was ecstatic and fans were ecstatic and saying this is going to be great. You have QB1 back. This is a great sign. Hindsight being 20/20, should the Bengals have had him miss the season opener, maybe even week 2, to make sure that calf was 100%? Did he come back too soon, or is this just a calf that is going to cause him some problems this season?
Absolutely. They should have. The Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow should have listened to Chase from the top, right? What did Chase say in training camp? Man, I don't want to see him, and I'm not expecting to see him for weeks. Go sit down. That's what he said. When you rush these injuries, these soft tissue injuries, they linger. He should have taken all the time he needed. If it took 3 to 4 weeks into the season, they should have did that. Could they have escaped through these first couple of games without him with 1 or 2 wins? It's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow can come back when he's healthy and get you into any game. So they made a huge mistake by letting him come back. They should have been, in these situations, they should have been extra careful. And so, yes, Ashley, I think in hindsight, they should have let him sit. And everyone knows that. Come on, stop rushing it. Stop rushing it.
Well, we're going to keep an eye on the Joe Burrow situation. Again, he is taking it day by day. The Bengals are taking it day by day. The Bengals do face the Rams next Sunday for week 3. So we will go ahead and see if QB1 will be in the mix or not. Now, on the topic of injuries, this is why Saquon Barkley wanted his money. The Giants' comeback win against the Cardinals on Sunday was spoiled by an injury to running back Saquon Barkley, who had to be helped off the field after a short run with just over a minute left into the game. Now, Barkley was ultimately taken on a cart to the X-ray room at State Farm Stadium. Barkley ran 17 times for 63 yards and a touchdown. He also caught a TD pass from QB Daniel Jones in the fourth quarter. Now, Saquon Barkley had an X-ray on his right ankle after the game. He limped around the locker room and it was a bit swollen. He was clearly in a lot of pain and discomfort. The Giants have a short week. It's a short turnaround. On Thursday night, they will face the 49ers, and it may be without an important piece of their offense, and that is Saquon Barkley. I mean, Brandon, this is why Saquon wanted his money.
I mean, what you want from me? What do you want me to say right now? Like Ashley, I mean, I feel like when I get into these conversations, it turns into a rant and then I lose everybody, right? Players gotta get comfortable with the uncomfortable, which means not everyone's going to like you. And the reason why this is a struggle for a lot of players is because when you talk about building brand, right, you got to say and do the right things. And so we're afraid to push back when we should be pushing back. Saquon Barkley you're right. This is exactly why Saquon should have gotten his money early. But what's going to happen now is this high ankle sprain, if this is what it is another injury that lingers for weeks. Saquon Barkley is in a 1-year deal. Fuck the franchise tag, first and foremost. All right, I'll carry on. So he's going to be banged up for 4 to 6 weeks, which means his production's going to slip, which means that he's not going to have the production that he's capable of having when he's healthy. Mm-hmm. So when he gets back to the table, what's going to happen? They're going to use this against him. Hey, your production slipped. See, this is why we didn't want to pay you. So now Saquon Barkley in a situation where he has to get a deal done because running backs have one opportunity to maximize their full potential, their full earnings, and now he's banged up. You got to go out there, and it's just the timing. Everything has to align. All the stars have to align. You go out there, you produce, you do your job, you're ready. The offensive line's doing their job. The offensive coordinator's putting you in position, and you got to stay healthy. If you do that, you get your contract. If you don't do that, when you sit at the table, they use that as leverage against you. So now Saquon Barkley's going to be in a situation, Ashley, where he's not going to be able to get his full his market value this offseason. And this is why athletes need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
And, I tweeted about this yesterday on top of the video of Saquon being helped to the sideline. And a lot of people said, well, this is why the Giants didn't pay him. And my pushback to that is the justification of Saquon getting hurt is not let me rephrase that. You can't justify Saquon getting hurt as the reason the Giants didn't pay him. And I'll tell you why. Because the Giants should have paid him based on the amount of usage they require of him. Everybody knows the more you are utilized in an offense or a defense, the more responsibility you have in an offense or a defense, the probability of injury increases. It's just math. The more you're utilized, the more you can get hurt. Saquon is the second most important piece of this offense after QB1, which is Daniel Jones.
Why do you say 2? Why isn't he 1?
He might be 1. It depends on who you ask. But most people will always say the quarterback is number 1.
Not in this situation.
In this situation, I agree with you. I would say it's Saquon, but just playing devil's advocate, let's just go ahead and put him at number 2.
Right.
Because the quarterback is the quarterback. You didn't have an issue paying Daniel Jones, and people will say, well, he's a quarterback. But you weren't thinking about the possibility of injury when you paid Daniel Jones. Right. And his injury probability is also high because he's not only a quarterback, he's also a running back in this offense. Running back number 2 if you look at the stats from last season. So that wasn't even in the Giants organization's mind when they pay Daniel Jones. But all of a sudden it's in their mind when they have to pay Saquon Barkley. All of a sudden they're thinking about, injury and lack of productivity because of the injury, instead of realizing your offense and the success of your offense and the success of your quarterback, the health of your quarterback is directly tied to a player you do not want to pay. And now you're going to see exactly what that is like.
Correct.
When he goes down.
Because offensively, Ashley, what wide receiver right now are you in love with for the Giants? Any of us in the chat, help us out. Who in the Giants organization at the wide receiver position are you in love with that you can say, they can build around him? There's no one. And then at the running back position, you have Saquon. So really your top guy goes down. And so now you're in a tough situation. Look, we use injury a lot, when we talk about the running back position, especially when we're talking business. But, they didn't do that against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow came in and he dealt with he had an ACL, MCL his rookie year.
Right.
And then he came back and they made it to the Super Bowl, so he's able to get back on track. But then his third year, he was injured in camp, right? He had to get surgery, right? And then now his fourth year, he gets the big deal and he's injured again. So that's just one example. We can go from other positions and other cases where it shows that guys are injured, and these are prominent guys, but they continue to pay them. So it sucks for Saquon Barkley. But again, Ashley, this is why we need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Sometimes you just got to look at the organization and say, I'm not playing. Point blank, period.
Well, we will keep an eye on the Saquon Barkley situation. Again, short turnaround for the Giants as they face the 49ers on Thursday. On the topic of injury, Ravens fans can take a deep breath because the Ravens are not worried about OBJ's injury. Now, the Ravens did not seem too concerned about wide receiver Odell Beckham's condition. Beckham did not play in the second half of the Ravens' 27-24 win over the Bengals yesterday after hurting his ankle. In addition, he missed a stretch of plays in the first half after first suffering the injury, but returned, but then was officially ruled out once the third quarter was underway. Now, post-game, head coach John Harbaugh spoke to the media and downplayed the injuries of both Beckham and edge rusher Odafe Owen, saying, quote, "I don't believe either one of those will be as serious as it looks right now." Here is the video of him speaking to the media.
Don't think it's serious injuries for either person. We'll learn more tomorrow, but I don't believe either one of those are going to be serious as it looks right now.
I mean, Brandon, listen, it's week 2. Week 1, Odell did not have many targets. Those went to Zay Flowers. And now week 2, he leaves the game with a ankle injury. I know the Ravens aren't concerned, but are you at all concerned? Should people be concerned? He does have an $18 million one-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens, and this was something that a lot of people were, on the fence about with Odell Beckham. Is the talent still there? Is he able to stay healthy for an entire season to utilize that talent?
Yeah. Listen, this is what I would say. This sucks for OBJ. This sucks for any player in this situation. This is another non-contact injury, Ashley, and there's a lot of people around the league feeling validated to their approach and approaching Odell Beckham Jr., right? Like when you think about OBJ, you think about just the star power. You think about the big plays, the explosiveness. But teams didn't want to go out there. Executives didn't want to go out there and give him anything close to what the Ravens gave him because of this. Mm-hmm. So this sucks for OBJ, but I'm super concerned because there was nobody around him when he went down. He caught a slant. He decelerated to stop and go, which we've seen him do all the time. This is what Odell Beckham Jr. does differently than everyone else, right? He's up there with the Stephon Diggs of the world, being able to stop and go, change direction. And when I saw his body language after is when I knew it was a big deal. He came back out, but you just know as a player, right? Like you start scanning your body and you start bringing in all the information to see if you're okay, if you're not okay, what's going on. The way he was jogging, the way he was running, coming back to the huddle, how he was looking and touching on himself, he's like, for me as a player, put myself back in that position like, oh, he's not okay. Mm-hmm. A drive later, he's on the sideline, he's headed into the locker room, and he's done for the day. And the next time we saw Odell Beckham Jr. was Odell in street clothes. And so Coach Harbaugh, he may not have all the information, but OBJ does. Remember, he's scanning his body. He knows. You can see it. When I saw that look for OBJ, and I hopefully this is it. And he goes out there. He has over 1,000 yards. The Baltimore Ravens in position to win the Super Bowl. But I said, man, bro is sitting there looking like, holy shit, here we go again. You know what I mean? Remember, he had tears in his eyes the week before. Mm-hmm. Like, damn, all the work that I've done to get back in this position, right? He was ready to walk away. And then week 2, you're back in the same situation. So when you have like just a simple, little tweak or something like that, you're able to play through things. For him not to be able to play through whatever it was, it's really concerning. And I'm not going off of what Coach Harbaugh just said in his post-game interview. I need to see Odell back out there, and I want to see Odell not just out there but making big plays. And that's when I'll say it's okay.
All right, well, another injury we will keep our eyes on, and we have another one to add to the list because Anthony Richardson is officially in concussion protocol. Mm-hmm. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson was ruled out of Sunday's game versus the Texans with a concussion, appearing to have suffered the injury after scoring his second TD run of the day. Now, 9 minutes left in the first quarter, Richardson rolled to his right on a design run play at the 20-yard line and was able to find the end zone, but took a shot from Houston safety MJ Stewart. Richardson fell on his back on the back of his neck, but appeared to be fine. He was seen being escorted to the locker room in the second quarter before officially being diagnosed with a concussion. And then Gardner Minshew stepped in to complete the rest of the game. Now, if you remember, Colts GM Chris Ballard said he didn't think that Jonathan Taylor's situation would hinder Anthony Richardson's growth. He said, quote, "Did it stunt Andrew Luck's growth without a special back?" And now in week 2, QB1 is officially in concussion protocol.
So Ashley, this is a big deal, but it isn't. It's a big deal because you want your young quarterback to go through the maturation process uninterrupted. And he's not able to do that now because he's dealing with a concussion, as you know, and we just talked about this with Joe Burrow. And any injury, especially when you're the franchise, the face of the franchise, take your time. Mm-hmm. So if this is, if he's cleared after going through the process, concussion protocol after 1 week, I think they should take 3. Because what you don't want is you don't want a Tua Tagovailoa, if I said that correctly. You don't want one of those situations. Mm-hmm. You don't want the situation they had. They had a receiver there with Peyton Manning. I forget his name. White kid, was really good, but he had 3 or 4 concussions, and he never was the same. So you take your time here. So his process of growing and learning in real time is now uninterrupted. So that's the big deal. The big deal is not around the Indianapolis Colts because, you know, no one expects, not even them, and I'm sorry, and I love Chris Ballard, right? But no one's expecting the Colts to go out there and win the Super Bowl.
This is true.
Right? But as a team, you are looking at like how the division is stacked up. Is the Jacksonville Jaguars, are they really the real deal? Mm-hmm. Right? The Tennessee Titans.
They look good.
They looked okay.
Yeah.
No, this is what I would say about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know we don't have it in the show, but really quickly. They're not ready. Because that's the game at home against the Kansas City Chiefs that you're supposed to win. Like, okay, can we beat the best of the best? Mm-hmm. You can't say you're one of the best if you don't beat the best, especially in that situation when the Kansas City Chiefs look sluggish.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they look decent, but I agree.
Right? Yeah. So some people, yeah. So I say that because when you look at the division, the Tennessee Titans, right, it's like, we could potentially be competitive. We might be able to sneak into the playoffs, but you know you're not going to go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You know you're not ready for the Baltimore Ravens. You know you're not ready for the Miami Dolphins. You know the Buffalo Bills going into the year, Jets, what they had when they had Aaron Rodgers. You know that. Listen, the NFL is super competitive, right? But let's not get this twisted. There are some teams that go out there and know, like, we're going to lose. That's just the fans. The fans think we're going to win every game or we're in every game. But that's not true for executives and the smart players. Like, I was a dumb player. Mm-hmm. Like, Ashley, I was on some terrible teams, and I'm, like, crying after games. I'm throwing helmets and shit, thinking that we were supposed to win. How the hell are we going to win the Miami Dolphins 2011 going into Foxborough against Tom Brady? Why the hell am I mad? Why am I mad, Ashley? Like, we're 0-6. No, it ain't no high hopes. I told my nephews this, and we get back on track. My nephew's last year playing for Cypress Bay, right? And he has that oomph in him too, right? Like, he has that dog, and he wants to win every game. He wants to make every play. And I'm teaching him how to be in control of his emotions and his feelings out there. And so right before the season, I huddled them up, my 2 nephews, right? I huddled them up. I said, hey, guys, I want to let y'all know, y'all are fucking ass. Just let's be clear. Actually, let's be clear. And why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because
your expectations at bay?
Yes, I just need you to control what you can control. Don't be out there saying, oh my goodness, we're supposed to win the state championship. No, that's Charminade. That's American Heritage. That's St. Thomas Aquinas. That's not y'all. I'm sorry, I didn't put y'all in that situation. If I put y'all there, then I'll say, oh, it's okay to be upset. So I just want to be clear here, fans. Y'all the ones that think. All right, I was the same way. I'm over here freaking throwing helmets, having tantrums, and then I look back, I'm like, damn, we was never going to win against. That was Peyton Manning on the other side. Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. Like, what? You got over here Jay Cutler throwing 20 picks. Get your ass out of here. What we talking about? Go, Ashley, take it, because I'm on one right now.
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers, and to close out news of the day, we have an Aaron Rodgers
We're still
story.
in news of the day?
We are. We had a lot of news of the day. Okay. We had a lot to get into. We have an Aaron Rodgers story. During his appearance on the Pat McAfee show, it was his first public appearance since undergoing surgery for an Achilles tendon tear. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers described how the sound of dolphins having sex is therapeutic for his body. He said, quote, "There's ideas that some of the noises from dolphins when they're lovemaking, the frequency of that is actually healing to the body."
Oh, so you want me to respond to that? I'm over here,
Are you
Ashley.
Googling dolphins having sex?
I'm YouTubing the sound of dolphin calls. Dolphins. Oh, you don't want to hear that? Oh my goodness.
Dolphins mating?
Yeah, because dolphins. Yeah, because like, what does this sound like? Yeah, this is interesting. Aaron Rodgers is just he's so
different.
He's different. He's so interesting.
Look at the dolphins.
You know, and I think this came up because they're talking about the recovery process, right?
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers got like what did they call it? Like a speed something?
Yeah, he got a different type of surgery that's supposed to speed up the healing process.
That's right.
It's not as invasive as, I guess, the original, which then ultimately helps to speed up the healing process. So that and the Dolphins having sex is supposed to make him come back for the playoffs.
Well, it's more things like the Dolphins having sex. I like how you said that. But he's looking at, 4 months, which will put him on track to come back for the playoffs, right? So he had a hyperbaric chamber delivered to his New Jersey home. And so once he does all his recovery stuff, he'll sit in this hyperbaric chamber. Hyperbaric chamber is pretty much like you're in altitude. And,
right.
So it speeds up the recovery process, blood flow, get into certain areas. And while he's in there, he's listening to, I guess, dolphins having sex. And the freak, because you.
Why did you say it like that?
This is wild. Aaron Rodgers is wild. But listen, this is what players do. Like, because you got to think about it. Everybody's like here. And we always talk about, how do I get the edge? Mm-hmm. So players go out there. The ones that's not doing drugs, there's a couple back in the day used to do steroids, try to get their
drugs.
edge. Well, yeah. Well, those type of drugs is not banned. Yeah. But you're always looking for one little thing to get the edge. So we'll go out there and try stuff just so we can heal faster, we can be faster, we can jump higher. So this is just Aaron Rodgers just trying to figure some stuff out.
I see Keon on his phone. Are you Googling dolphins having sex? Or are you trying to...
Let's see. There's a lady right here. So dolphin sex noise. Here we go. Short. Let's see.
Wait, what kind of... That's definitely not a dolphin. It's talking English. It's speaking English.
Here we go. This is a girl. I guess she got it. Here, one.
I don't think that's the sound.
So that's what she. It's a viral YouTube
I don't think
short.
that's the sound of dolphin. The sound. Of... Okay.
Hold on. Let's see this one. The dolphin sound.
I don't think that's it either. There's no way that's actually a dolphin. Brandon, that's not real. Okay.
It's on YouTube.
I don't think that's a real. It's like high frequency. It probably sounds like a whale. Like you ever see like Finding Nemo with the whale? She's like, ooh. It probably sounds something like that.
All right, one more, and then we can move on.
That's not it.
No, this ain't it. Never mind.
Okay.
No, it's something different. All right.
Someone says we think you clicked on the wrong site, Brandon.
That is not Pornhub. No, it's not.
All right, we are moving on to how about them Cowboys? Listen, the Dallas Cowboys showcased their dominance once again, this time against the other New York football team, the Jets. Them boys went on to improve to 2-0 after beating the Jets 30-10. Now, Dak Prescott had an opening drive of 12 plays to drive 76 yards in less than 6 minutes for the first touchdown of the game. CeeDee Lamb had himself over 100 receiving yards, 106 to be exact, before halftime. And Micah Parsons, no big deal. There's his tweet right there. Cowboys Nation, we're hungry. 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Now, Zach Wilson finished the game with 170 passing yards, a touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson, and 3 interceptions. So, how about them? How about them boys, Brandon?
Well, first I need to say this, very, extremely disappointed in the Jets and how they showed up. They haven't recovered from the Aaron Rodgers Achilles injury, and that was obvious, right? You were in the stadium.
I was.
Monday Night Football opening night, and when Aaron Rodgers went down, you said it was like someone died.
No, there was a guy, like we were in a suite, and the guy below us in the seats was gassed like the first few minutes of the game. He's like, we're going all the way. And then 75 seconds into the game, he's screaming, we're cursed. We're cursed. Like it was a drastic change of events.
So I think that Coach Saleh and the guys did a phenomenal job of regrouping and having that next man up mentality to get that win. And against Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, a premier league and premier team, And so you would have thought that, after a week of preparation, that they would have came out, with more energy and with a better game plan, and they didn't. And so I'm disappointed in the Jets, and they have to do a lot of internal work this week to figure out what do they need for Zach. They didn't run the ball. What do they need to do on the defensive side? Are we really legendary? Because how do we give up as much? How many yards? How do we give up as many yards and yardage on the ground, through the air that we did? The Cowboys are the real deal, Ashley, and they're on track to do what a lot of people said that they won't do. Right? The last 20 years, it's always, we're talking about the Cowboys too much. But when you look at how this team is constructed and what they have, they're in a beautiful situation. And so what I love about them is that they're controlling what they're supposed to control. A lot of people are out there saying, okay, they swept New York 70-10, right? And these are two bad teams. But that's not them. They're controlling what they need to control. And what does that look like? That means that they're not beating themselves. So turnovers is a big deal. Last year, if Dak Prescott doesn't turn the ball over at the rate that he was, they're probably in a better situation. Right now, he's playing really good. He's 11th in quarterback in QBR. He has no picks. He's playing super efficient. He's playing into the strength of this team, and that's team. They're really good on defense, and they're good on special teams. So he doesn't need to go out there and do what he did years ago and fucking throw and or have his offense in position to have 500 yards a game. What also they did really well over the last 2 weeks is they played into what Coach Quinn has done extremely well over the last couple of years, and that's just making sure that his defense is turning the ball over, and they're capitalizing off of those turnovers, and they're turning them into points. So the Cowboys are in position these next couple of weeks. Ashley, your team, Arizona, that's a win. The New England Patriots, that should be a win. The San Francisco 49ers, that's going to be a big deal for them. We'll see what happens there. And then the Chargers. So these next 4 weeks is going to tell a lot about the Cowboys.
Well, listen, it was definitely some interesting things that happened in the game. Sauce Gardner was not happy with his amount of targets. He tweeted out 4 footballs, which represented his 4 targets of the game, and then deactivated his Twitter account. I think one of the things that stood out to me, though, 2 things was, I think offensively, I always knew the Jets were going to struggle without Aaron Rodgers. I think what surprised me the most was how much they did not run the football absence of Aaron Rodgers. When you don't have a passer you can rely on, and let's call a spade, Zach Wilson is not a passer you can rely on. Your weapon is to run the ball. They did not do that nearly as much. So that was an interesting game plan. I mean, Zach Wilson was out there scrambling. Micah Parsons was feasting on him all game long. I mean, look at this photo. Zach Wilson looks like a little kid, in Pee Wee football.
Parsons, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, freaking felt like 10 quarterback pressures. Unbelievable.
Also, I think that what stood out to me the most, though, again, like I said, offensively, I always thought they were going to struggle without Aaron Rodgers. I'm surprised they didn't go ahead and run that football. But defensively, they didn't look nearly as dominant and scary as I think that a lot of people had thought that they would be. Even with Aaron Rodgers, the defense was always something that everyone constantly highlighted as the strong point of this team. The defense gave up 30 points to the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, offensively, you're going to struggle, but your defense can always travel. Your defense can always keep you in the game. and they were a non-factor just as much as the offense. I think that was the most surprising thing to me of everything that went down.
The question around the Dallas Cowboys after this game is it about the Jets or the Cowboys, right? Because a really good offense, right, with a defense like that, they come out and play this way, right? Dak Prescott, just don't mess it up. And he gave them an opportunity. Sauce Gardner dropped the pick 6, right? You can't do that. You can't look out to the right on a hitch, 3-step drop, double clutch it, and then throw it. Can't do that. So you got to be on time when you're running that type of play. But when you look at this, man, like, I don't know if it was like the Jets letting down. Like, you know, they ran the ball efficiently. CeeDee Lamb balled out. They made their plays.
Cowboys ran them. Yeah, I don't.
But there's some people that's going to say, oh, the Jets defense is playing bad. The Jets defense didn't show up.
If you look at the last 2 games of the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, let's look at it. Like, you dominated the Giants. The Giants obviously can come back from a deficit. They did it against the Cardinals yesterday. So it's not like they're incapable. The team that they faced in week 1, the Dallas Cowboys, is just drastically better than them. The same situation.
I disagree.
You don't think that the Cowboys are drastically better than the Giants?
No, remember what I said. Just from a football standpoint, we don't know yet.
They are drastically better than the Giants.
No, they're better than the Giants, but you can't say drastically. We don't know yet.
I can say drastically, and I'm going to say drastically again.
Let me tell you why in that game. Better. Remember what I said. When you fall to the Dallas Cowboys 16-0 in the first quarter and it's raining and now you're in a pass-only situation, that puts the offense in a terrible position. When you have
not giving them the excuse of the weather, Brandon.
I'm telling you about football. I'm telling you about what we're talking about and what we see in that moment. It's like, shit, I got Dwight Freeney and I got Robert Mathis on the other side. There's no way we're going to be able to get this ball off. Now when they know Jay Cutler got to drop back every single time to throw the ball. So that's why I said that, Ashley. I'm not saying you're far off. I'm just saying let's be patient and let's see how this thing plays out over the next couple of weeks. I don't need to be patient.
If you look at the teams, the Cowboys
they shouldn't have lost 40-0.
The Cowboys are drastic. Maybe not. Maybe they should have scored a field goal bare minimum. Right. But they are drastically better than the Giants. And that is, I don't care if we're talking week 6, week 3, week 11. They are a drastically better football team. Roster to roster, they are drastically better. They are better than the Giants. They are better than the Jets, and the score doesn't lie. What does Bill Parcells famously say? You are what your record says you are, and our record says 2-0. We beat 2 teams that we are drastically better than. Now, when we get to the 49ers, and if we beat them, will I say we're drastically better than the 49ers? No, but we beat a really good football team that is on our level. But we are drastically better than the 2 teams that we were supposed to beat them.
Let's look at the matchup. So we wouldn't have said that going into this game that the Dallas Cowboys offense would have showed this way against the New York Football Jets. We wouldn't have said that. Look what the Jets made Josh Allen
Aaron
look
Rodgers?
With their Dallas Cowboys offense this last game versus the New York Jets defense. Nobody would have went in and said that the Dallas Cowboys would have put up the show that they did.
Why?
Because the Jets has a phenomenal defense.
And the Cowboys have a phenomenal offense and defense. Now,
you're saying the Dallas Cowboys have a phenomenal offense? They do not have a phenomenal offense.
What's not phenomenal about the offense?
You can't put them up there. You can't put them up there.
Tony Pollard. You have
Deuce Vaughn ain't even touching the ball. Go ahead.
Deuce Vaughn touched the ball.
I'm saying, how many times did he touch the ball? I'm saying he's not a big part of the offense. They're not considered.
Great offense.
The Dallas Cowboys is not considered a great offense. That's to be determined. Last year, did we go into this offseason saying the Dallas Cowboys offense was great? No, the talk was Dak Prescott is trash. Dak Prescott keep turning the ball over. Nobody said that the Dallas Cowboys offense is great. You can't put them up there with the Cincinnati Bengals. You can't put them up there with.
The Bengals are 0-2.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about going into this year. That's what we're talking about. When we talk about great offenses, offensively, they're not even in the top 15 as far as they're not even in the top 15. Dak Prescott, he's only threw for 390 yards. That's 17th overall. He's not lighting it up.
That's because game 1 was won by the defense.
Correct. So how can we say that they're a great offense then? Because they didn't.
When I say great, I'm not putting them up there with like the 49ers or the 90s Cowboys in terms of great, but I'm saying in terms of efficient offenses. The Cowboys are not a bad offense. They may not be a phenomenal offense, but they're a middle of the road offense leaning towards more of a great offense than a bad offense. Okay, you can say middle of the road,
then I agree with you there, but don't say great.
I would lean.
And remember, I would
lean more towards good, great than I would bad, average.
No, I wouldn't say bad. I think that they're good offense. They have the pieces to be a really good offense, but we need to see over the next couple of weeks. We can't make that assessment off of week 1 because you said it was the elements, it was the defense.
I didn't say it was the elements. You said it was the elements.
It is. Well, I'm just telling you, football standpoint. Like when it's raining and the ball is wet and you're in a pass-only situation, that's tough sledding.
Well, let's hindsight for the Jets. I mean, the situation with Zach Wilson's not great. There has been a lot of talk about what quarterback you should bring in to help Zach Wilson out. It just does not look like he is somebody who can lead this football team to a win. He looks lost out there a lot of the times. He looks shaken up. At some points, it looks like he's seeing ghosts. He's hearing ghosts, whatever you want to call it. He's feeling it. What do the Jets do if they're not going ahead and rely heavily on their run game, which it clearly looks like that was not part of their game plan? Why, I do not know. If their defense is going to struggle whenever they face a premier football team, you need to put points on the board. How do they do that?
You listen to Breece Hall. Listen to your players. After the game, a reporter put a microphone in front of Breece Hall's face and said, "Why did you guys lose?" He said, "Because I only had 4 touches." That's what he said. Even with Aaron Rodgers, I was saying this the whole time. You run the ball. I wasn't expecting Aaron Rodgers to come in and be the Aaron Rodgers, the back-to-back MVP that we saw in 20 and 21? I believe it was, or 21 and 22. Like, I wasn't expecting that. No, it was 20 and 21. Because you have a phenomenal defense and you have a running game. Why we go out there and pay Dalvin Cook? So when you think about the week 1, Breece Hall, after that game, to me, like, all right, now you're the front runner to be the best running back in the NFL right now. Now, it's too early to say that, but if we're just comparing week 1 performances, he looked phenomenal. So going into week 2 without Aaron Rodgers, you don't run the ball. You only hand it off to him 4 times or whatever it was. That's the problem. So how do you fix the Jets if they need fixing, right? Because it's only one game. It's still early. Mm-hmm. You get back to being legendary on defense. I don't know what happened there. I haven't watched the film. I'm not sitting in those meeting rooms, right? I don't know people's assignments, broken down assignments, people missing their responsibility in run game, like run integrity. I don't know. But offensively, you have to run the ball. You have to run the ball. I keep saying it. Like, study the Philadelphia Eagles, what they did last year. Run the ball. You got 2 premier running backs. And then look for the matchups outside. I don't know. Right? He said, I'm not calling the plays. That's what Breece Hall said. So that's how you fix him. Listen, that's how you give yourself an opportunity.
Well, from one squandered opportunity to another, the Broncos fall apart and then fall to 0-2. The Broncos blew a 21-3 lead against the Washington Commanders in a 35-33 loss after a successful Hail Mary gave them a chance to tie the game. With 3 seconds left in regulation, QB1 Russell Wilson found Brandon Johnson on an unlikely 50-yard Hail Mary that bounced off multiple Washington defenders before landing in the Denver receiver's hands to set up a 2-point conversion attempt. But a no call on the contact on the attempt sealed the Washington win. Russell Wilson, 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He became the first player in NFL history to reach 40,000 passing yards and 5,000 rushing yards. But none of that mattered because Russell Wilson said post-game, "I've got to be better." Now, after the game, a lot of people had their opinions on Russell Wilson and whether or not he is the quarterback that he once was, and whether or not he is the quarterback that can go ahead and turn around the Denver Broncos. One of those people who were not a believer is Colin Cowherd. He had this to say.
Russell Wilson is 34, and he looks like he's 39. He does not have the juice he had previously. I don't know if some of it's confidence, emotional, no major surgeries, 34. He plays much, much older than his age. I think they're headed for major turbulence in Denver. This is a massively punitive contract to the Broncos with a coach and a quarterback with completely different personalities. This is only going to get worse. The schedule's only going to get tougher. Now they go on the road. Never seen a quarterback have it, lose it without a major injury. Pre-35 years old. Never seen it. I have no comp.
I mean, Brandon, listen, we can dive into and dissect the no call and the 2-point conversion, but when you lead 21-3, it shouldn't even come down to that. Mm-hmm. When Russell Wilson is your quarterback and you have a 21-3 lead, it shouldn't come down to a Hail Mary and a 2-point conversion. The job should have already been done. So yes, we can go ahead, and it was a no call on the contact. It was pass interference, but it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. Do you agree with what Colin Cowherd said? What do you make of just the Broncos and this horrific start to the season?
I do not agree with Colin Cowherd. I think he's absolutely wrong. Obviously, people know that I respect and love Russell Wilson, what he has done on the field and also off the field. But this is a prime example of why, like, more athletes need to continue to lean into media and do it the right way, because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Ashley, think about what you just said. They were up 21-3. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is going to be a common, a common trend that comes up, over these next couple of minutes. When you're up 21-3, how do you sustain that lead? Okay, you run the ball. They can't run the ball. When have we seen Russell Wilson at his best? Go back to the Seattle days when they can run the ball. They can't run the ball. So I'm sorry, and this is where I don't know where Russell Wilson's head's at. I don't know if he's trying to be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, where they throw it 40, 50 times. I haven't seen him have that type of success doing it that way. Where I have seen him compete to be the best quarterback in the league, one of the all-time clutch quarterbacks ever, is when they can run the ball. So when you're scouting a player, you're recruiting a player, and you're acquiring a player, you try to put that player in a position where they can succeed. So when you think about Russell Wilson needs to be in an offense where they can run the ball, because now you allow Russell Wilson to do where he thrives and he separates himself. Big plays. Russell Wilson, how many big plays have we seen? Did we see last year? How many big plays did we see this year? I think he hit Jerry Jeudy or someone for a big one this past week. But that's where Russell Wilson thrives, getting out of the pocket, big go balls, post balls, pylons, et cetera, et cetera. 2-minute drive, taking over. You got to get him in that space. So for me, I would say that Russell Wilson is doing a good job, not a great job. He's fourth in total QBR. He's efficient. He's doing a good job there. 5 touchdowns to 1 interception. I want to see Russell Wilson in the offense that makes sense for him. That's what I want to see.
I mean, we can't also, not blame the defense in this situation.
That's right.
You're up 21-3. The defense also has to do their job. It shouldn't have even come that close. Your defense has to step up. They have to do what they're on the field
paid to do.
And they did not do that. So there's enough blame to go around. I know Russell Wilson is probably the easiest to blame, the low-hanging fruit. We always talk about this. The quarterback gets the glory. The quarterback gets the blame. But I think if you're going to really dissect this game, you have to look at it from all angles. The defense didn't do their job. Sean Payton failed at doing his job in terms of calling the right plays to sustain that lead. And I think that Russell Wilson is just the easy target at this point.
Right. Like, think about Sean Payton and the success he's had, right? We're talking about legendary, all-time great offenses, for the year performances, right? They're throwing the ball. I think he and Drew Brees damn near own every passing category, it feels like. When Drew Brees, those last couple years, it was like every Sunday night football game that he was on, or Monday night football game, we're stopping the games and saying, Drew Brees breaks another one, right? That's not Russell Wilson. Like, is Coach Payton capable? Is he capable of putting together an offense and calling a game that leans towards Russell Wilson's strengths? If he is, I think you're going to see a better offense. Now, I will also say this about Russell, and I'm not letting him off the hook here. There's times where it looks a little tight. You got to think about it. Like, I don't know if we've ever seen any attack job on a player at this magnitude that we saw last year. They were attacking him personally, professionally, and it was just week after week after week. So when you're in that situation, you tend to play tight, right? Oh, I can't mess it up. That's not Russell. Russell always played loose. Russell always made big plays. And when I turn on film, and he doesn't have that look that Zach Wilson and Josh Allen that I said, where they're like deer in the headlight, but I see him being very careful. And you can't play that way. Russell Wilson is a playmaker. And so Russell Wilson needs to let it loose and can't worry about, like, damn, if I throw 2 interceptions, what are the media going to say? You can't do that, right?
Got it.
And Coach Payton needs to do a good job of just making sure that he's putting his players, starting with Russell Wilson, in position to be successful.
We're going to quickly dive into last night's game so we can go ahead and have enough time to get you guys ready for Monday Night Football. So quickly, new kings of the AFC East. The Miami Dolphins take down division rival the New England Patriots in a wild Sunday night 24-17 win. The team has officially approved to 2-0 for the season and 2-0 on the road. Tua Tagovailoa is 5-0 against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and it's been more than 20 years since the Patriots started the season 0-2, 2001. Now, there was a controversial call within the last seconds of the game. The referee said that Cole Strange came up just short of the first down marker on the Patriots' last play of the game. Here is the photo of that. I mean, Brandon, impressive start for the Miami Dolphins. Yep. They're rocking and rolling, especially without Jalen Ramsey. The New England Patriots is looking like Belichick needed Brady more than Brady needed Belichick. But, I mean, what did you make of that call at the last play of the game?
Ashley, you have this question here. You pose this question. Are the Miami Dolphins the new kings of the AFC East? No. They're the new kings of the NFL. Forget the AFC East. Forget the AFC. They're the new kings of the NFL as it stands today. And it's in their hands to keep it. They're number 4 in defense. They're ranked 4th in defense. They're ranked number 1 in offense. And 10th in special teams. All 3 phases. They're playing really good or phenomenal football. I don't see anyone beating this team. They'll beat themselves. Tua is the best quarterback in football. Don't debate me. His poise. What did I have written down here as I was watching this game last night? Poise, control of offense, efficiency, quick decision-making, accuracy. He throws a beautiful ball. Like, this offense, I'm trying to think about it because I played in this offense. Everybody keeps saying, like, oh, this is the Shanahan offense. He comes from that tree. This is not that. This dude has taken Shanahan and spread offense and college football elements and put it all together. I don't know what this is, Ashley. So my Jets are in a terrible position right now. I picked the Jets to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. You're not going to like this, but I'm changing gears here. It's the situation, it's the circumstances. It's early. It's not even. We're not even out the first quarter of the season, Ashley. So you got to give it to me. To me, right now, it's coming down to the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins to represent the AFC, and it ain't even close. You still got the Kansas City Chiefs out there, but man, Tua Tagovailoa. Think about what I thought Tyreek Hill was crazy to leave Kansas City. And then I thought he was just being a great teammate when he came out and said, Tua throws the best ball I've ever seen. He's super accurate. Remember he was saying that? And we were like, bro, you taking a shot at Patrick Mahomes. Oh, no, he wasn't. He really was feeling this. He's seen it. Tua. Oh, my goodness. You were high on Tua.
I was. I like Tua a lot. I'm a big Tua fan.
Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. Oh, shit.
Well, listen, we will see what the Dolphins do. They have their home opener on Sunday. But we're going to dive into, in the last few minutes of the show, we have some bets. We have some lines. We got 5 minutes. Can we do this in 5 minutes, Brandon?
Yeah, I know you're looking at me like, hey, you'll be long.
All right, let's go. We have a doubleheader on Monday Night Football today. First up, it's the Saints versus the Panthers. Now, the Panthers-Saints spread right now is Saints -3. The over-under is 39.5 points. And the money line, Saints -160, Panthers +138. Now, Carolina is 9-9 against the spread since the start of the 2022 season, while New Orleans is 7-11. Brandon, who do you got?
I have the New Orleans Saints to cover everything, taking the over on points. This is one of those teams. The Saints are one of those teams where we're going to look up probably around week 7, week 8, and be like, oh, snap, like, let's pay attention to them, right? So we'll see tonight if they are who they think they are and who I believe they can be.
All right. Monday Night Football again. We have
a double hitter.
It's a double header. We got the Browns versus the Steelers. Now these teams have squared off over 140. I'm sorry, they have squared off 143 times. Usually the Steelers come out on top, but it's a new day in Cleveland, so who knows what is going to happen in this situation. Now the spread for this game is Cleveland -2. The over/under is 38 points. The money line, Cleveland -132, Pittsburgh +113. Now the Browns are 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games as road favorites. Brandon, who are you leaning towards in this one? Your hometown Steelers.
Yep, I bleed black and yellow, but I also got to be real. You know, I got a job to do. You know, I'm a big fan of Coach Tomlin, obviously a fan of the Steelers. You know, I used to have family members coming to the Broncos and Steeler games or Jets and Steeler games wearing Steelers shit, right? So that's how serious it is where I come from. I'm taking everything Cleveland, and this is tough because when you're in Pittsburgh against Coach Tomlin, they always find a way to get it done or be in position or just to make it hard for you. I've experienced this. But I think this is the year that Coach Tomlin doesn't get it done.
Oh.
Like and it's not because of him, but they're just missing, you know, that Ben Roethlisberger in his prime. They're missing the Troy Polamalu, which, you know, you got. I like Fitzpatrick. He's phenomenal, but like they had him. They had you know, Joey Porter. They had the big guy Harrison. They had so many legends on that side. You know, they're big guys down up front. I think that the Cleveland Browns are on the other end of the spectrum than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going the wrong way, and I think the Cleveland Browns are ascending the right way. And so for that reason, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. And we'll see. This is a game, right? Again, if you are who you say you are, Cleveland, then you will show well tonight. Point blank, period.
A lot of people say that, you know, the game against the Bengals was not a true depiction of what this Browns team.
Why?
Because the Bengals weren't looking so hot. It wasn't the Super Bowl Bengals that, you know, you're accustomed to seeing. Obviously, the Bengals are going through.
It was raining too, wasn't it?
I don't know. That's your thing, not mine.
It was.
Okay,
Joe Burrow, right? You couldn't throw for over 100 yards.
We saw Joe Burrow play in the snow.
Snow is totally different. That rain is a different beast.
You know, to your point, the Steelers are a lot tougher than what the Bengals gave them in week 1. So defeating the Steelers this time around will say a lot about the Browns if they're able to do it. Are you high on the Browns, low on the Browns? Are you high on Deshaun Watson, low on Deshaun Watson? Where do you stand?
I'm not super high on the Browns. I don't think that they're not contenders. I wouldn't even call them pretenders yet, right? Like, this is a team that we need to watch over the next couple of weeks. But I think that this team could be in that same category as the Tennessee Titans. And when you think about the Tennessee Titans in the category that I'm talking about, that's, you know, Detroit Lions last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, how they just held it together and then they snuck, you know, a great second half of the season. So I think that the Cleveland Browns need to show well tonight if they want to be respected.
All right, guys. Well, we will go ahead and recap both of those games tomorrow on Paper Out. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're listening on the radio, Sirius XM,
the chat was jumping today.
The chat was jumping today. If you're listening on radio, you missed Brandon Marshall drinking a Will Levis special, mayonnaise in his coffee. How do you feel, Brandon?
I got gas.
Okay.
You tell him in between segments I was putting.
Listen, yeah, it was not great. So he's gonna be dealing with that for a couple of hours. But it's Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow.
UCF
Tuesday.
is 3-0 too. UCF Knights run onto the field. Sorry, go ahead.
And on that note, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.